Hello, everyone. I'm not going to ask how you doing because if you're doing well, then you're a sick individual. But it's ugly stuff, guys. It's ugly stuff. It's bad. It's bad. Unfortunately, it's very, very bad. It ain't good. It ain't good. I can safely say that I'm never going to ask. Well, I'm never going to ask this early in from one game for somebody to say, oh, yeah, I'm going to sit there and scream for a manager to be sacked at this point in the season, this early on. But I have no faith in them anymore. That's it for me. Like, if they do make a change during the international break, I'll applaud it. I don't think they will. That's part of it. I don't want to sit there screaming about a manager to leave in the middle of a season if he's going to stay, because it's just an awful feeling. I don't want to be in that position. I don't want to be in that position. I don't like doing. I'm so tired of that. I'm so tired of that. We've done it so many times. We've been in that boat so many times, but it's ugly, man. Emram looks like he wants out. Not a good look. Yeah, lose to Burnley's gone. Maybe. I mean, to me, let me put it this way, right? To me, it's a sackable game. It's a sackable game, right? Like I can sit there and say a few things, which is like, oh, man, I don't even know where to start about this. Chasing a game against Grimsby brings on Mount and left wing back. That was actually one of his best decisions, for what it's worth, but one of his only best decisions. Yeah, the haters won, guys. You won. You won. You know, I've said before, like, I'm a man of principle. If I think I'm actually wrong at the point when I think I'm wrong, I'll admit it and say, you know what? That's it. I'm wrong. I was wrong about it. Now is that point. I back the manager 100% until the point when I don't think that I should. And right now, there's no evidence. There's no evidence that that I should back him. And no, I'm not going to genuinely, there's a lot of haters and things like that are right. Obviously, we can joke all aside, but let's be real, right? Most of the fan base was wrong about Ten Hag at the right point in time. I think right now I think I'm totally wrong about thinking Amorim is going to be any good. I'll tell you what I was right about, though, and then we'll go back to the manager and everything else in a minute. Andre Onana. Andre fucking Nana, dude. It's genuinely match fixing, right? Like, it's actually match fixing. It's actually match fixing. It has to be. It absolutely has to be from Onana. He shouldn't be allowed back at Carrington. When he did this against Lyon, after those comments from Matic, that should have been the end of his United career. That should have been the absolute end of his United career at that point in time. It was so obvious. And I said earlier, I tweeted it, so just to be fair to myself and give myself a small amount of credit on one point, I said all summer long, if we don't get a keeper, we will regret it. We're 3 games in, and manager stuff aside, we could talk about that in a minute, because the manager has big responsibility for this, right? Manager stuff aside, the keeper's cost us 2 games out of 3, and arguably had a big effect on Fulham as well. He's cost us 2 games out of 3. 2 games out of 3. It's not match fixing. Obviously, that's a meme. I'm not making a legal accusation of somebody or something like that. But I'm just saying it's bad enough that you sit there and wonder, because it's that bad. The performance is that bad. You know? The performance is that bad that it looks way worse. It looks intentional because it's that bad. And I said, hold on, I'm just trying to find it because and it's on them. It's like, for God's sakes, man, it's on them, because I just need to find. I just wanted to find a thing, but I even said like what I said it right at the end of summer, maybe a week ago. Yes, bro is blame. I'm up. If you can't blame the goalkeeper, that's great. Like if you're not blaming the goalkeeper, that's crazy. This can't all be on the manager. We've been same shit for a decade, for sure. There's other things to talk about, for sure. How do we keep ending up here? Like where do we go? Well, we can talk about that in a minute. What's your read on his post-match quote? Seems defeating, like he's quitting, saying the player spoke today. What the fuck does that even mean? I'm stunned right now. I don't know. I haven't actually looked at his quotes. I'll look at them in a minute. How did it take you this long to see the truth? How long did it take people to see Ten Hag? Like, it's not about that. It's about, I give a manager a summer and see them produce, and then they have to come out and start showing something. And it has to be better than this. Because a managerless team should be able to beat this, to be able to beat Grimsby with the quality that they have in the team. Thank you, Music Chat, for the donation. I'm sorry, there's no message there. A managerless team should be able to win. Okay, so there's the thing is that there's like. That's not a let-off for the manager. That's not a let-off for the manager saying a managerless team should be able to win. The point is that there's a couple of things that a manager has to be able to do. One of them is your system and your tactics and all of that, okay? But the other thing that I find more important is the ability to get the players focus, to play, to perform, and have consequences for not performing. We don't have them. Why is Onana at the football club? That's on the manager. Do you think Xavi would be a good fit? This brings me back to the manager. Why is Onana there? Why are there no consequences for what he did last season? Why is he on the pitch in the first place? It should have been brought in June 1st. It should have been brought in June 1st, a new keeper. June 1st, that should have happened. How do you make that decision? How do you make the decision on June 1st? How do you do that? Like, how do you not get it on June 1st, a keeper, after what you saw last year? That's on you. There's never consequences for bad performance for half the team. They just get to keep going on and on in their day and keep playing and keep performing and all of that. That's on the coach. When are the good times coming we were promised? I don't know, Spence. I don't know, man. Agreed, that was most of it the goalkeeper's fault, but you need to score goals, and we didn't until minute 75. Correct, that too. It took way too long. Where do we go from here? What else is left to try? H2O coach to win against Grimsby. Yeah, it's like, I don't know. There's just absolutely no justification for certain things that have happened. There's none. Why is Dallo still at United? I want to know. Why did he start that game? I would have started anybody at right back. There's just no punishment. There's no consequence. Like, ironically here, you know who tends to get punished the most in the entire team for things that are basically not his fault? You guys are going to give me a hard time for this, but it's Ugarte. Ugarte gets subbed the instant something goes wrong anywhere in the game, even if it's not his fault. Ahmad was giving the ball away, and he stayed on. It was Ugarte that got subbed. What's with that? Why does that happen? Ugarte is actually the only player on the team who faces consequences. It's quite weird. And they're generally over the top. Why? Why does that happen? Why? How does Ahmad survive that half? How does Onana survive that half? But he gets subbed. He was fine. He did not give away the first goal. Ahmad gave the ball away, attempting a flick up in the middle of the field, ran into him, and then he gets subbed. That's crazy. He only got subbed because we were trying to chase a goal, for sure. But we weren't going to chase a goal with Ahmad, who was absolutely terrible today. You think Ruben offer about no payout still stands? I don't know about that. I don't know about that. 1 second. Someone came to the door. Just give me 2 seconds, guys. Be right back. Sorry about that. Why was Xerxes not on the pitch earlier? I don't know. I don't know either. Took way too long. Way too long. Hold on. I'm just trying to look. The way we started the game without any intensity, all the idea of pressure, we completely lost. And that's when I think they spoke really loud. The team and players spoke really loud for me today. You know what I'm talking about? What is he talking about? I don't know what he's saying. Can someone explain that to me? Did I not? I don't get it. What is he actually even saying there when he says the players spoke loud for me? What is he talking about? I don't understand what he means by the players spoke loud for me. They were mad at him in the dressing room or something like that? The players spoke and he did not speak? I don't understand those words, honestly. That's like a Portuguese to English thing I'm not understanding. He's saying they don't want to play. He's saying the players showed they aren't playing for him. Oh, I see. You think that's what it is? That does sound pretty defeated, doesn't it? When do we evaluate the whole Ineos mess? That doesn't matter to me on that. They let him down by not performing. Their performance spoke. Okay. He's saying their performance did all the talking. Okay, I get it. Give me 4-3-3 and a coach who doesn't play hoopball. Yeah, sure, whatever. I don't really care. System this, system that. People were talking about the system when it was Ten Hag, and people talked about the system when it was this guy, and people were talking about the system when it was that. I don't care about the system. I think that it's anybody's best guess what the right system is. Maybe they're yelling at each other so he didn't have to say anything. Yeah, I don't know. I don't care what the system is or isn't or anything like that. But I will say this. I have a few thoughts on the matter. He's saying the players aren't listening to him. Okay, fair enough. I will say this, okay? Number one, yeah, the conversation during Ten Hag was there wasn't a system. It doesn't matter. Like, yeah, 4-3-3 is gonna stop Onana's errors. It's not. There's different issues. There's different issues, and it's really hard to unpack. And the problem is that, you know what the truth of the matter is that unfortunately, yeah, Ten Hag had no principles, and Amorim sticks to bad principles. Fair. I mean, that's fair concern. How do you unpack this mess? Like, How do you unpack this mess? Like, what is the problem? How to come Real Madrid pick a manager out of thin air and they win a lot? Well, yeah. So there's two different types of managers, obviously, right? You pick ones where you have an amazingly built squad, and then, yeah, exactly. I agree with you. You shouldn't need a system to beat Grimsby. Like I said, you should have 11 players go out there. They should be able to beat Grimsby. You build a great squad, you build a great team, and you get a motivator. You know, I'm not saying they're not good coaches. Don't get me wrong, okay? But Zinedine Zidane, Ancelotti, they're motivators. I'm curious how it's going to work with Xabi Alonso, so we'll see. But he's also probably quite a good motivator. They organize the team into their strengths. You know what I mean? They do have systems, but their systems are mostly figuring out how to get the players that are already there to play together. And then you have managers who lay down a certain system already. Mount was at left wing back. That kind of stubbornness is insane. See, it's funny. I this is where I get in disagreement. That was fine. It was just an extra attacker. He wasn't even defending. He was just like, it was just throwing attackers on. Formation is meaningless at that point. It wasn't a left wing back. He was playing as a left winger, and Cunha we were just trying to get more numbers up front. That kind of stuff doesn't really mean anything to me. Thought players got along well. Doesn't seem like it. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. What top tier manager are you expecting to walk in? I know. It's never just one thing, right? Some of the things that we've been talking about, well, let's be real for a second, okay? Most of the things that we've been talking about, are still true. Most of the things that we've been talking about are still true. We still need to build a proper team, all right? We still did buy quality players. It's unfortunate that some of them kind of played bad. Yeah, no, for sure, PJ. It's all good. Good to see you, by the way. It's unfortunate that, like, some of them had a bad game, but, like, Cunha, Mbumo, Sheshko, they're all going to be good players. That's fine. That's good. I really like Xerxes again. I still really like him. He looks really quality when he came on. I thought he was really helpful. His ability to, like, just actually control the ball, seemingly one of the only players on the team who can, I like. There's a lot of things that I like. Lenny Yoro obviously is very good. I like a lot of them. But so we still need to just build a proper team. We still just need to build a proper team. We still need to clear people out. The people at the top of my list to sell is both goalkeepers. I play Tom Heaton. I've said that earlier. I would rather play Tom Heaton than anybody in this team. The fact that we haven't solved, like, I still firmly believe in a very, very simple way, goalkeeper and striker are two of the most important positions on the pitch. The fact that we didn't sign a goalkeeper has literally probably cost Amorim his job already. I'm not saying it's the only thing. Don't get me wrong, all right? We all wanted a full rebuild, overhaul the squad, stop changing manager. People don't realize that it's signed up for patience required. Look, I agree with you, Silence, in a respect, okay? I agree with you in a respect. These places that prioritizes fullbacks in 1v1 dribbling situations. It's literally anti-United football. I don't care about that. I just don't care about those types of things, okay? Ahmad is a winger. Getting your wingers one-on-one is very pro-United. Calling it wing-backs instead of wingers to me just doesn't matter. It doesn't really mean anything to me, okay? Those types of things don't mean anything to me. It's hard to describe. Was reading Amorim's comments to give a resignation vibe. Yeah. It's hard to describe the problem, okay? We've conceded 3 goals to goalkeeper errors out of 4 conceded this year. That's pretty bad. This have happened every time the last 11 years. It's not the manager every time. Yes, he has to take some blame, but sacking him now would be pathetic. Can't sack now 3 games in the new season. If they do, then I'm done. I hear you too. Look, like I said, I'm not saying manager out. I'm not going to do that right now at this point in time. That's not where I'm going with this at all. But I don't have faith in him. I feel very similarly to how I felt after the Europa League final, if you recall. He has responsibility for the things that have happened, factually. He just does. He's making bad calls on many different things. I don't know, man. Like, there's just, the mistakes are so bad sometimes that it kills me. And it's hard to think beyond that, because even if I want to back a rebuild and a full rebuild and a full suffering and a full this and a full that, there's 2 things that don't make sense to me, right? Number 1, Casemiro Bruno. It's never worked. It doesn't work. We did it for no reason and lost the European final because of it. We did it against Fulham and it was crap. There's no future in it. If we're rebuilding and we're buying 26-year-olds, things like that, why are we relying on a 31-year-old who wants to go to Saudi and a Casemiro who's 33 that'll be gone next season? Don't even talk about player quality. Let's not even talk about player quality. Why are we playing them when they're not going to be here for the future if we're doing a rebuild? Why do we sign 2 number 10s? Comes down to planning. Bruno Cunha would have been perfect. We need a goalkeeper, center mid, striker, early wasted weeks on Mbumo. Yeah. Faith should be earned, not given. Right. It hasn't been earned, right? We're not doing things that make sense in alignment with the ideas, okay? When we started the season, forget the quality here. We shouldn't be going with Bruno and Casemiro, regardless of whether they're good, bad, indifferent, because they're not going to be here for the future. They're not a part of the future. So why did we bet all our money on them? Just watch Hamram, doesn't look defeated at all. Looks angry, determined. What can a manager do when keepers are sabotaging every game? I hear that too, but they did. That's the second point. I hear that. They made the decision to put off a keeper till later. They made the decision to put off the keeper till later and maybe even not do it at all. And to claim that Onana was the guy back in July. I got a resignation feeling from his... It's mixed. I can't tell. I honestly can't tell, Muhammad. I can't tell. I really can't. But it's like... it's hard, man. It's hard to do this because I can back a rebuild and I can back a struggle. If we'd gotten a new keeper and the new keeper was struggling a little bit, I understand. It happens. Like, here's the crazy part about it, right? If we bought a new keeper, yes, people would be memeing if they made a mistake and we conceded a goal. Right? But at least it would have been understood that it's a new keeper. We wanted a new keeper. We made the decision to change them, and we accept that there's going to be growing pains with the keeper. But to hitch your cart to Onana speaks to, like, such bad judgment that I lose faith in an individual's ability to see rationally if they're going to do that. It's because we're in a rebuild, but Amorim is also under massive pressure to get results. The same issue we had at the end of Ten Hag's time. That's true. That's true. But then you don't have it. And look, maybe we're all overreacting in this moment. I'm not saying this is going to happen, guys, but I do want United to be successful. We're all overreacting in this moment, and they'll keep the faith and say, no, the results don't matter. We're going to stick with what we're doing. We're going to get Lamens in. We're going to come back after the international break, and we're going to do great. And we're going to build through this season, and by the end of it, we'll be there. I hope that happens. I don't think it will. I've lost faith in that, but I hope it happens. I don't think it will. Yeah, I look at it and I go, we're probably all overreacting to a degree. But I do look at it and say we've hitched our cart to the wrong horses. And the lack of judgment makes me lose faith. There's things I agree with and things I don't agree with, right? I still don't agree with some of the claims about the system because I don't think it makes any sense. The system is not the reason that, Ahmad gives the ball away in the middle 6 times. The system is not the reason that Onana drops it in his own net and Bayindir flaps at corners on 3 out of 4 goals that we've conceded this year. Those aren't the reasons for that, right? They're not the reasons that we can't dribble, that we can't complain, that we can't control the ball, that we can't do the basics. Those aren't system reasons. They're not system reasons that we cannot do the basics. They're not. I'm sorry to say, but they're not. Again, any professional footballer should be able to do the things that we are asking the players to do without doing it completely terribly. Okay? That's okay. They shouldn't be able... those are not reasons for that. But the players not being able to play itself, not showing up, not putting in effort, not focused, it's on the manager. People generally, in my opinion, blame people to get it wrong in terms of why. I mean, it doesn't really matter, does it? Was Martinez loan offer and Lamens coming in? Onana and Bayindir didn't want to leave. Same with Garnacho, Anthony. We're stuck with better players. It doesn't matter. We should have got a keeper. A keeper will ruin every game. We've not built continuity. Needs midfielder, goalkeeper, and time. Fair enough, Silence, and that's fine. I'm sorry. The system doesn't make it so you can't dribble in the opposition half. It just doesn't. The system doesn't make that. That's not the reason. People are going to get that wrong endlessly. It isn't. The system isn't why Daulo receives the ball and turns and loses it. The system isn't why Onana chucks it into his own net 2 times, okay? It's just not. I'm sorry. It isn't. It just isn't. But the reason they do those things can still be the manager to coach them. It's like we've played 6 different systems. We've played 6 different systems. 5 different managers. Yeah, are we saying Ahmad was good today and the system failed us? They couldn't complete a pass. We've played 5 different systems. And they can't do, and people won't do the basics. It's just the most basic shit. That's not the system. It has nothing to do with it. It just isn't. None of it is. We've been through 9 managers, man. Joining late. Any news on Le Mans? No, I don't. Not right now. But people think managers, the system is the most important thing from a manager, but I don't think it is. I don't think it is. Like, you can't, a system doesn't make Casemiro slow, but picking him is still the fault of the manager. The system doesn't, doesn't make you miss chances, but, I don't know. If only we played 4-3-3, Onana could have saved a penalty kick. Right. Yeah. Yeah, right. Like like I said, I will always criticize the things that make sense to criticize. The system doesn't work in the rain, right? I will always criticize the things that make sense to criticize. What makes sense to criticize is why can't you get your players to perform, to do the basics well, to show up for a game, to be energetic. It's embedded in the club. Glazers need to go. Yeah, perhaps. I mean, certainly there's a part of that. Correct. Who picked Onana? Exactly. That's my point. Exactly. That's my point. Something at United needs to change. We've seen managers come and fail, and in those times they stick to things they're scared to change because they work. Mourinho and OGS stuck with McFred, Ten Hag 2, and Amram with 3-4-3 or whatever. Sure. It's just... Biggest for me, James, is confidence. Players just don't look comfortable. When have they, though? Like, I'm just saying that, like Onana did this under Ten Hag in a system he's used to, with a manager he'd worked with for years. He did this in a Champions League. So what is it, man? What is it? Like I said, Ten Hag picked and backed Onana and built a bad team. I don't care what formation he plays. Onana was doing this at Ajax. Who's the guy who said, let's sign Onana and pick him? And who's the guy who said, let's stick with Onana and not sign a goalkeeper day one of the window after what they saw in Europa? That's what I blame managers for. Those decisions. Because my view as a manager's job is to take the players, decide who's any good and who isn't, and then, sort them out. I don't think that, unfortunately, the problem is that I don't think, here's the thing, yeah. Do I think Lamens and Balaba help a lot? Yeah, sure, of course. Thank you, Samix. Yeah, please do hit the like button. Thanks. I'm trying, man. I'm trying, and I'm not trying to even argue. It's like, it's bad. Remember what I said yesterday. When you lose, you're wrong. That's the rightness and wrongness of things. If you lose, you're wrong. Losing is wrong. So I look at it and I go, man, I don't know. It's harder to, yeah, Kareed, Simon. It is a lot harder to explain why players aren't performing. I'm not going to rewatch this, trust me, because it has nothing to do with it. I know why we lost. But yeah, if I look at it and I look at why are we crap? Why do we lose games? What is wrong? I still look at it and go, We're not gonna. Why didn't we get a keeper? Why didn't we get a keeper? Whose decision was that? Why didn't we get a keeper? Whose decision was that? Why did we stick with Casemiro and Bruno and get 3 forwards? I get getting 3 forwards, but not if it was going to be to stick with Casemiro and Bruno. That wasn't the plan. Casemiro shouldn't be here. He was supposed to be sold this summer, so that's stupid. That makes no sense. There's just too many reasons. Are you officially Emmer out? No, it doesn't matter to me. It's in, out, shake it all about. I just want United to win. I don't care anymore. I have zero faith in him, but I'm not going to call for a manager to be sacked 3 games in the season. It's just not going to happen. Sorry. But you don't need me to. You don't need me to. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to oh, my phone is buzzing. Sorry about that. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong if you want him to leave. I just want United to win. The Gareth South rumors are going to come back? Nah, it's not going to happen. Manager, yes, but does have input on player ins and outs, but Wilcox and Co are also running the show. They should all be held accountable. Yeah, it's hard to... One of the problems is that it's really hard to separate who wanted what, but ultimately they can all be culpable for these things. You have to make them perform, but that is the same with every manager that have been here. This is not new. People think he can't do it. No manager's been able to. At some point, we end up in the exact same place as now. That's why it's hard to separate it, right? We won't get Southgate. Don't worry about that. Love for what you do and massive praise. And yeah, I moved my phone. Apologies for that. Look, it is a problem. It is a problem. Nobody who can do this. We've gone through 9 managers, all with different systems and different formations, different this and different that. And none of them can motivate. None of them can seemingly solve this problem. It's just bizarre to me. It can't, look, there's things I agree with too, right? I don't know. Fuck me, man. It's such a mess. The answer is not as simple as people want. At least we scored a goal from open play. 2, no. Well, yeah, I guess one was a set piece. If City hired Amorim, I find it hard to believe he'd be sticking to his rigid system no matter what. No, not true. Director of football set the game model, yes, and then they pick a manager that matches. He didn't get hired by Liverpool because they didn't want to switch to a back 3. Glasner would be a good fit. Same system, does it better. No, we shouldn't hire Glasner. We just shouldn't hire Glasner. Sorry. I'm not going to get on board with hiring Glasner. Look, all I'm going to say is that here's what I'm really, really wary of, okay, when you talk about managers, because we've tried it and I don't know. I'm very wary now of managers who've done really well at teams that are perfectly well organized and managed, that have smaller budgets, smaller issues, and smaller goals. Because the estimation that we yet have that environment that can support someone like that, to me, is wrong. I think we need somebody who is very big. I think that our structures and recruitment and things like that are better, but not perfect. And you need somebody very, very strong who is adaptable if you're going to change managers. And you don't sit there and pick it out based on this or that. You need somebody who can actually handle it while things are not yet perfect, because they're obviously not. I think they are better in how we recruit and how we build and what we're putting together and all of that. But we need somebody stronger than that to handle it. You know what I mean? Something has to change, and you're not going to change 22 players again. Yeah. But anyway, my suggestion is Jose coming back. Watch this space. Sacking Ruben won't solve anything. It'll just reset this vicious cycle we're stuck in. Ruben Amorim's sporting team would have spanked Grimsby 5-0, so how could it be a manager issue? Same manager, different players from Portuguese league wins this game. True. True. It's hard to figure out, guys. I'm like, I have such a bad headache today. I have such a strong, like, look, it's not a guarantee that Emmeram going makes things better, for sure. It's not. A lot of things that, there's not, because it's not one thing. It's still not one thing. It can get worse. Here's what I think presently. Forgetting the manager for a second. This is what I think. Forgetting the manager for just a minute. I think that we have to accept I think we have to accept that the right thing to do is to completely tear up the culture and get rid of anybody who's been here a long time. And I do mean everybody. I don't care who they are. I want everybody I only want people who are actually there for the future. My problem is that we were supposed to do a rebuild. That's why I said the Bruno Casemiro thing doesn't make sense. We're supposed to do a rebuild, but we're playing Bruno and Casemiro. That doesn't make sense to me. That is not in line with where we're at. Then I'm okay with the suffering. You know what I mean? Like, the part that bothers me and was a red flag there in the beginning is that we started out the season after supposedly suffering, and how we're going to play. And then we decided to stick with players who are not going to be here for the long haul. If we keep Amorim, at least he'll clear bad stuff till 2026, and after the World Cup, bring Nagelsmann. His style is better and less fixated on information. Sure. But then why didn't we do that? That's my question. Why didn't we do that? You know what I mean? Like, why? Why didn't we do that? Why didn't we actually stick to that plan? Why did we stick with Onana? Why did we stick to Casemiro and Bruno? It was a half. It was a half measure. You know what I mean? That the player spoke really loud and we'll fix things in an international break. Maybe that is him saying he's had enough of these players in the job, but waits till the Burnley match to react to go out himself. Maybe. I don't know. I would happily say, hey, let's just move everybody on who's been here for a long time. But I think my view of it is that I don't understand how we continue like this. Like, I don't want the manager to go and the same players to stay and go to their fifth manager. right? I don't want Amorim to leave, and the next manager comes in and we play a 4-2-3-1 with Bruno Fernandes in the 10, dictating play, and that's where we end up again. I don't want that. And I'm not just talking about Bruno. I'm saying, I'm not even insulting his quality. I'm talking about the long term. I'm not talking about Bruno's bad. I'm saying, what is the next phase actually of Manchester United? What's the next phase of Manchester United? What really is supposed to go on in the next phase of United? Like, what has to happen? What is the long-term view of United? Where do we go next? That would be actually doing the rebuild. It has nothing to do with whether Bruno's good or bad. Forget about it. I'm saying he's not going to be in the next thing. De Bruyne's gone. City have moved on from that. I still think he's a good player. He's gone. You know, like, there's many players come and go from different teams and change the way that they're going to play, and they decide to do it at the right time, and it doesn't mean it's the same group. Just get them gone. Bruno, Casemiro, Dallo, Onana. I don't care. Like, there's more than that. There's more than that. But just move them on. And what is the next way we actually want to play football? And look at a long-term view. Who's going to be part of that? I can see Šeško, Mbumo, Cunha, Kobbie Mainoo, Heaven, Yoro. I can see those guys, Dorgu, I can see those guys being part of something, right? But why are we still playing with the players who aren't here for the long haul? That's the part that hurts my head. That's the part that makes the whole mess tangled. What are we doing? It's not, to me, it's not about, get another manager and it's all going to go well. That's what I'm saying. It isn't. That's what I'm saying. That's not the answer. Like, I don't think you can go in and sign Jurgen Klopp and it's going to work, who I think is one of the best probably available manager in football, who's probably not going to take a job. And obviously he's a Liverpool guy. You could hire Jurgen Klopp. Do I think it's going to fix it? No. Because if you're still playing Casemiro and Bruno and this and that, then you're going to end up playing the same football at the end of it. That's the part that doesn't make sense to me. I've seen this. We've seen this issue for 3 years. This is the third year in a row we can't score goals. Like, let me just make something really, really clear. Why I don't really buy the system issues. Okay. Ten Hag's first season, outside of Rashford's dynamic 3-month patch, okay, we couldn't score goals. Look at it before and after. Outside of that 3-month patch where Rashford was insane, was literally scoring a goal per game on his own, that culminated in the League Cup final and then ended with Liverpool beating us 7-0. We couldn't score. We couldn't score goals. And then the next year, we couldn't score goals. And then this year, we couldn't score goals. It's not just a system problem, okay? And the thing that bugs me is that the system just becomes one thing. The system just becomes one thing. It's become one thing for years. And when we had Solskjaer, we got really good at doing what Solskjaer wanted, okay? And we got close enough to a more defined form of football, right? Under Solskjaer. It was counters, right? Just factually. It was straight counter-attacking football. That's what we did under Solskjaer. And we had Bruno, perfect for counter-attacking football. And we had Rashford, and we had guys who could run, and we went with counter-attacking, direct, boom, boom, straight up the gut football, period. That's what it was. We would sit deep, and attack. When we couldn't do that anymore, and when we tried to make the move to a more possession-based game that sustained, but don't get me wrong here. I remember, and I think people do forget, we couldn't score when we weren't counterattacking. Okay, our whole system was around counterattacking. All right, under Solskjaer. Artificial transition is not the same as counters, but Solskjaer was counterattacking football. Okay? When we tried to move to a possession-based system that was more sustaining attacks, it didn't suit Bruno Fernandes, for one. There was quite a few players who it didn't suit, not just Bruno, but it didn't suit Bruno. He was one of the worst players when we made that change. It didn't work. We ended up in this weird 4-2-4, and it went kind of crazy. We've not really sorted out an identity since then beyond moments of magic that score goals. And we still haven't fixed it. We still haven't sorted it out. I think we have players who can play differently. I think we have players who can play differently, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't have the answer, man. I don't have the answer. It's confusing. It's confusing. I really don't know. I really don't know the answers. And I don't think anybody does. And I think too many people are thinking that one manager or one thing is now going to fix this. But we haven't moved forward. There's plenty of positions. That doesn't matter. That's not what I'm talking about. Like, there's you can play plenty of different formations. Bruno's cult status hampers team balance too much. Fair. I mean, that's fine. Like, there's plenty of formations that can work. But, like, let me give you an example, okay? If you take the second half, when we were attacking and sustaining attacks and all of that, right? Not claiming it was a good half of football. Don't get me wrong, okay? When we were sustaining and making the same, attacks and all of that, how were we doing it and what happened? It was pretty simple kind of basics in place. A lot of basic, like... What the hell's going on? Sorry, I keep putting my phone down in front of me. It was pretty simple basics. When it was like, God, I don't know. My head hurts way too bad from this. I'm too stressed about it. Could we actually get relegated? Reset? No. I don't know, man. But I think what I was trying to get at is, like, when I feel we've been best, we haven't really had, like, this focal point. You know what I mean? Like, we haven't had, like, a focal point creative. Like, we had lots of players creating different things, doing lots of different things. We played very attacking. And it wasn't all running through one person, like, at all. It was very well spread out. And it was like, get the ball in from the right, get it in from the left, get it in from the middle, dribble it forward, do this, do that, okay? It was very much not, I don't know. I just don't see, like, the focal point in there. And I think that my favorite games, have been ones where I don't really know who the best player is. And it moves around between a whole bunch of people. Like, there were games under Jose, kind of one of the last times I can remember this. Actually, let's say under Ollie, I'll give you that, right? Where like Cavani played, like during the Cavani season, there were games under Solskjaer that seemed to work really well, where you look at like who was the best player. Well, you had some finishers like Cavani and stuff like that, but there was a lot of different like moving pieces that made it all work. And it was like there was the swarming. Like when I watch Liverpool play, and I hate always using Liverpool as an example, yeah, there's Salah, but you don't actually see like a focal point of the team. There's a hell of a lot of running and a hell of a lot of like attacking and a hell of a lot of like group work essentially in there. And then they just like the ball just like ends up in the net. I'm not saying there's not real ways to do it because you can dig into it a lot further, but like I don't know, man. It's just different. It's been that way for a long time. Yeah, I'm upset. I'm frustrated. There was things that I saw, but you know, like I'll sit there and go, I saw good things. I saw good positions. I saw good situations in previous games. But then you show up to Grimsby and you just don't play football. It doesn't make any sense. Why could we play Arsenal better than this? It doesn't make sense. It's easier to score goals in transition than in possession in Premier League. Even Arsenal struggle and rely on set pieces. Our players' decision-making sucks. Yeah, that's true as well. I don't know. They're definitely hoping for it to get timed out, Smokey, for sure. Look, the keeper's a huge issue. Like, I don't know. I'm not really sure what to say because I don't think it is that simple. Like, even his comments saying that they should protect the keeper more. Just fucking call out the keeper, man. Before we conceded, Onana's kicking the ball straight out and giving possession away. Onana's fucking up the build-up. going long, missing passes before we conceded. It's not just other people's fault. And the fact that, like, his blind spot on the keeper thing, why is it never the keeper's fault? Like, why is it never the keeper's fault? Why can he not talk about the keeper? That's what I said when I said there's only consequences for a few players and not others. And you only talk about what players and not others. Right? Did I say Ugarte had a good game? No. What I'm saying is that he's the only one that will face a consequence. He was the only one that'll face a consequence. He'll sub him every time we concede. And then he'll say the defending wasn't good or the midfield wasn't good or this wasn't good. But he'll never say my keeper fucked up. He'll never say the goalkeeping was bad and didn't give confidence to the rest of the team. That's what I'm saying by him not saying he doesn't have there's no consequences for some people. And that is a crazy oversight to me. How can you sub off the midfield but not the keeper? Sub off the keeper. Sub off the keeper. He was absolutely not. I have no idea what you guys are even watching. Ugarte completed like 93% of his passes and made 3 tackles. Literally the only thing he did wrong was get knocked over by Ahmad after Ahmad lost the ball for that goal. He didn't do anything wrong. He didn't do anything particularly well either. He definitely didn't chuck the ball into his own net on 2 plays. That's for sure. He definitely was not worse. Again, though, Ahmad was the one turning the ball over in those positions time and time again. But even before we conceded, Onana's kicking the ball away. Onana's kicking the ball out of bounds over the forwards' heads, giving it away constantly. And then the only person that's going to face consequence. It doesn't make any sense. Why is Ahmad and Onana not pulled off at halftime? You can definitely say Ugarte should go off, Dorgu should go off. Fine. Okay. But then why are Ahmad and Onana not coming off? Why? Onana should not have been on that pitch. He nearly made us concede again in multiple different times. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. And then he says it's the midfield should be protecting Onana better. You can't protect Onana when he's constantly giving the ball to the opposition. You can't protect him. That's one of the reasons I said Bayindir had a good game against Arsenal, which is so frustrating. He conceded on the corner, but we weren't losing the ball because he was passing it to his own team. Whenever Onana plays, he passes it to the opposition constantly, loses you possession, and then you go, oh, the midfield doesn't defend well enough. The backline doesn't defend well enough. Well, maybe if the keeper wasn't constantly giving the ball to the other team every time they fucking touched it, then he wouldn't be under so much pressure. What a crazy thought. But it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. He doesn't get it. And he doesn't seem to call it out, and he doesn't seem to see it. And it's costing us game after game. At 15 minutes, I remember watching Onana. Dorgu's running free on the side. He just needs to chip it over the presser. Kicks it straight out of bounds. Apologize. Sorry, guys. I've seen Onana say sorry more than I've seen him make a save or a completed pass. But it's everybody else's fault. I don't get that. I don't agree with that. I can't agree with that. Today, United broke me. It's beyond ridiculous. I've seen enough. He cannot restate United some semblance of normalcy. Yeah. Thank you, DV Cooper, as well, for the $2. And then you remember in the second half when he's trying to go long and he just shanks it and it just goes flying straight up in the air and bounces out. Apologies. My bad. Sorry. when there was supposed to be a counterattack. He's trying to launch the counter, and he just shanks it straight out of play. And then look at what the opposition keeper does. Look at what the opposition keeper does. Do you think that the opposing manager is going, well, defense should have protected him better? No, he's going, thank God for my keeper. Thank God I have a goalkeeper, because, it's a position in football. And the job of a goalkeeper in a position of football is to make saves, because on occasion, you're going to get attacked. No matter what you do, no matter how you play, your keeper is going to have to make saves. David Raya made saves for Arsenal. The Fulham keeper made saves. We don't have a keeper who makes saves. I'm sure the manager for Grimsby isn't going, we need to get the defense to protect the keeper better. No, he's saying, I'm fucking glad I have a keeper stopping shots, because that's their job. And imagine what it feels like being a defender in front of Onana every game. Sorry, I'm just tuning in. Watched Amram's post-match interview. I think he walks. Yeah, it kind of feels like it. It does, from what I can see and read. That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like. So, yeah, man, I don't know. But again, it's like you make that decision and make those calls. That drives me nuts. That drives me nuts. How can you say that the keeper should have been more protected? He had to stop one shot. I'll probably do Collins or something tomorrow. I'm sorry, I didn't set it up on the other thing, and it's late. It was late, and I didn't know that people would want to do it. I don't have the thing here to do it. I'm not on the right thing to do it. I'm sorry, he's not objectively correct. Onana was asked to make one save. It was a near post shot right next to him, and he let it in. Then he was asked to handle like a second corner. And he misses his punch with his eyes closed and loses it. I don't know. And say that he doesn't blame the players. That is blaming the players. That's true, DB. It's not a good. Tonight might be the wrong time. Tomorrow might be a good day to do it. That shot had an XG of 0.09. Yeah. He subbed the players he seemed to be saying were at fault, but not Onana and not Ahmad. That's blaming the players. And then he let he blamed the players. He blamed the players plenty. But he gets it wrong. He gets it wrong. You know? And I don't think that all the players are bad, but Onana, I don't understand. There's been nothing. Like, Ahmad had a bad game. Fine. Players have bad games. Plenty of players have had bad games, but there are a few options where there's nothing that they've done to have any faith in them. Barada, Smokey. There was nothing that he's done to give him any faith. And he still picked him. And he still went with him. And it's the worst decision that he could possibly have made. And that's what a manager is responsible for. We need a specialist goalkeeper if we seek any type of progress. It's one position that's unforgiving if mistakes. First goal saved by De Gea's foot. For sure. True. Brian Crawford, welcome. Thank you. Look, the reality is that the way that I see it is this. I see managers a certain way. They're responsible for the most part. Pick the right players, make good substitutions, and get the players up for it. Any system should be able to be beating teams like Grimsby handily, right? That's the truth. If you're not doing it, is because you can't get the players up for it, and you're picking calamities. The best thing Ruben could have done is to sell Bruno and reinvest in the midfield. Probably true. What's next? Just feel completely lost. It's rock bottom. We've hit rock bottom 10 times in the past 2 years. Yeah, for sure. Pick the right players. Make the right subs. Get your players up for it. What you do, requisite to the quality that you have, is on you at that point in time. And right now, that looks terrible. Man United have never built a great midfield since Keane left. We played Giggs Park and unretired Scholes. Until we build a great midfield, then we won't be successful with anyone. Fine. I can accept that. But then that's fine. But then let's build a midfield, not stick with the past and keep trying to force it into place. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's tough. Yeah, I do. Eighth paradigm, because it's the past. Why not actually plan for the future? It doesn't make any sense. Like, when we were buying Cunha, Mbumo, and Sheshko, what did we do? We said we want 3 new forwards, a whole new front line, the future of the front line. This is what we're going to do moving forward. Then we're playing midfielders that aren't going to be here when those guys are getting going. How much percentage do you think today is Amarim's fault? I don't know. Probably 50%. It's like, you know, get the players up for it. These aren't Sunday League players. I hear you, but then I don't know, man. Fuck me, dude. All we needed was a good win. Shouldn't be that hard. Firstly, stop leaking goals. I mean, that is true. But then the first thing we needed to do was get a keeper, which I've been begging for months and months and months and months. And then we've not done it. We can't stop leaking goals until we get a keeper. Manchester United have never replaced Carrick. That's true, too. The reason I think it's as much as 50% is because he picked Onana. And he has supported him and backed him. I don't get that. I know you like to be positive about the future of our club. Surely this can't be accepted by the owners. Europe is crucial. Yeah, I don't know, man. I can't be positive about it. I don't know what to say. I don't know, Jeffrey. I don't have the answer to that, man. Lamans should have been in the door weeks ago. I've never understood any reason that we would have any faith. I didn't know why. I didn't know Onana would be picked. I was kind of surprised by that too. You know, we've kicked Højlund out of the team for being poor. I get that. So why is Onana still here? Why are we even debating it? He's far worse. Has done far more damage. He's done far more damage. You know? Far, 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 far worse. That doesn't make sense to me. Like, part of the thing that's frustrating is that, like there's a world where without keeper mistakes, without bad keepers, we have better results. The performances are okay, but it's the first 3 games of the season, and we all can sit there and go, we got some results. Performances, they need some work. We draw against Arsenal. Maybe we draw against Fulham. We probably beat Grimsby. And we say, all right, it could be worse to start the season, for sure. It's a little frustrating. It doesn't look great, but at least we're okay. And instead, it's a disaster. But 3 out of the 4 goals conceded are on the keepers. Pretty much only on the keepers. That's I don't know, man. I can't get over that. Because we'd be sitting there saying, yeah, we need improvement, but at least we're doing okay. You know, we need improvement, but we're doing okay. We can't say that now. Because of that, it's turned what should be okay, questionable but okay, into disaster. That's what sucks. And now it's a disaster. Now it is a catastrophe. Yeah, I don't have the answer, guys. I'm not going to say they should sack the manager. I feel like it sounds to me like he's going to walk. Is it going to get better afterwards? Probably. I mean, it usually does a little bit. We probably can play a style or a formation or whatever if that happens that is more familiar to players. So maybe they'll just perform better, less learning curve on that basis to have more experience with it. And on that basis, we might play better, but I don't know. All I know is that what's frustrating in general is I don't want us to fall into a, like, my biggest fear if we change managers again or a new manager comes in, my biggest fear, okay, is that we fall back into the same routines as before as well. I don't want to go back to what was before Amorim either. You understand? Like, I don't want that to happen either. I don't want to go back to, okay, let's get back to a 4-2-3-1 kind of sit deep Bruno long balls. And again, I'm not talking about Bruno's quality. I'm talking about the way we want to play football. We've tried that. We've tried it. We've tried to maximize that way of playing, and we've not made it. We've not gone anywhere. We went through one set of forwards to another set of forwards to another set of forwards, and it didn't work. I just want something new. I don't want to go backwards. I want to go forwards. Right, get a pragmatic manager, patches up the squad, fall apart in the third season, right? I don't want someone to come in and say, okay, here's what we're going to do. 4-2-3-1. Casemiro and Mainu in the pivot. Bruno in the 10s. Let's deepen that line. Let's stop pressing because we're not good at it. And let's launch the ball down the pitch, play some counterattacking football, get on the run. Mbumo, you've made the most runs in behind of anybody in football. That's what we're going to have you do. Dowlow, you're fine as a right back. And we're just going to do the same shit as always. And we're going to grind out wins. I don't want that. That's what I don't want. The voice of our captain is clearly weak. Yeah, that's frustration. I can't believe Jadon Sancho is going to house another manager. I feel Amram is disappointed they didn't buy more players. He might have asked for more, like goalkeeper, midfielder, wingbacks, and he was let down. Maybe. Like, I just don't want to do... go backwards, man. I don't want to go backwards. Because then we're never going to get anywhere. I want to go forwards. I want to do something different. It is what Ole did. Like, when I look at when Jose came in, right? When Jose came in, we actually played heavy football, like attacking, aggressive, intense football for a while. Then he didn't get the players. Then he sunk into a hole. And then Ole said, all right, I'm going to take it, fix it up, and we're going to play really good counterattacking football. And then Ten Hag came in, right? Tried to do something new, bought the wrong players, and then did the same thing and said, let's go back, sit deep, counterattacking football, and then we'll figure it out later. And we never figured it out. We never figured it out. We went every time we go to a new manager, we go backwards, and then we start over and go back to sit deep, counterattacking football, and then we do the same thing. One of the reasons I liked Ruben Amorim and had the idea of him and why I wanted him is because he would make us do something different. And he is. The problem is it's just not fucking working. I like the concept of Ruben Amorim because it's breaking a pattern that we've had for a long time, okay, of how we play. We are not going backwards in terms of the past. We're not reverting to the same football we used to under Amorim. It's a different type of football. It's just not working. It's just not working. That's the issue. It's not working. Like, it's not the same as what we were, but it's not working at all. So, shit, that's not good. But what I don't want to do with that is go backwards again, man. I don't want to go backwards again. That's the part that scares me, and why I'm not sitting there saying, "Oh yeah, let's change the manager, go back and be pragmatic," because then we're just gonna go backwards. We're just gonna go backwards, and we're gonna do the same thing. And they're gonna walk into the team, and they're gonna say, "Who's our best player? Bruno Fernandes. Good. I want Bruno on the ball, creating plays. Great, cool. Bruno's good." But that's backwards. That's still backwards. That's not the future. That's going back and doing the same thing again to try to grind out results. I'm not talking about backwards in terms of how good we are. I'm talking about backwards in terms of where we want to be as a football club in the future. I'm not saying we aren't even worse. I'm saying that... is that I don't want to do what we've done before yet again. I'm not saying we will. I'm saying that's what I don't want. Like there's managers that do different things. And that's kind of why I didn't want a pragmatist, because a pragmatist would look at our squad and say the only thing it can do is sit deep and play counterattacking football. True? Like let me ask you a question. You bring a pragmatic manager in. You bring a pragmatic manager in, and they look at this team. What do they think it can do best? What do you think they think can do best to maximize it? Would Poch be possible now? Who's available? He might get sacked by the U.S., but I don't know that that's great. They would come into this squad and say, you know what we need to do? Kind of sit deep. We've got Maguire. We've got De Ligt. They're not fast. They're good at defending in the box. We've got these guys who can do this. We've got Casemiro. We've got this. We've got that. We've got Bruno who's good at this. Let's sit deep and play defensive football. That's what they'll say. Get ready to run that channel. Get ready to run your ass off. Get ready. And then we'll just be going back. And we'll just be going back again and again, man. I'm just tired of it. That's not what I want. So, I expect we'll be hiring Jose Mourinho in a few weeks. He's got unfinished business. Am I serious or not? Time will tell. I think we have the ability to send out a decent midfield, to be fair, but I'll play it a little differently. So I don't know. I'm in the middle of debating. Like, if it was up to me, remember Sir Alex's example when he was almost set to be sacked, who didn't sack, and the rest is history. I know we have the same example for every manager, Sir Alex, but maybe Amarim. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not going to sit and call for a manager out. What I think is that what I hoped for was that we would break, the pattern of doing the same thing and ending up playing the same football for 7 or 8 years. That's what I was hoping for. That we would do that. I think we are breaking that, to be fair, in terms of Ruben Amorim. We are breaking the pattern. This is probably the first time we've played different football than we have in like 6-7 years. It just sucks. It's just not working. If we continue it, is it going to get better? I don't see any evidence of that. But that doesn't mean we should go backwards. No, Ashworth wasn't right about anything. Ashworth wanted to keep Ten Hag. Ashworth wanted to hire people that... At least Amorim was a shot at a chance. The guys he wanted to hire were... Ashworth would have had us wait and see till forever, honestly. So this weird revisionism doesn't need to be necessary. Isn't the Arsenal game evidence? But it's not enough, man. It's not enough, and it's the wrong players. It's the wrong players. If I were to switch to a 4-3-3 manager, and I was here, and I would want to switch to a 4-3-3 manager, I would line up Šeško, Cunha, Mbumo, Mason Mount, Kobbie Mainoo, and then I would pray and flip a coin between Casemiro and Ugarte for the third midfielder. And then I would play Yoro and Maguire, maybe. And then at right back, I would play Mazraoui and Dorgu. And then who can get the most out of that without it being counterattacking football? Yeah, Mount is probably the most intelligent player that we have on the pitch, like at any given time. Mount is a good footballer. And I would 100% play him in a midfield 3 as the most advanced midfielder. 100%. He can be your, like, I don't know, David or Bernardo Silva or something like that. And then you've got, like, Xerxes, because you can do some different things with him. And then all that. But who's going to do something different? Who's going to do something different? To what we were doing before? You can see those players reverting to counter. I can't, because Cunha's not a counterattacking player. Šeško, to his credit, doesn't look like a counterattacking player. Mount isn't really a counterattacking player. He doesn't have long distance pace. Kobe is certainly not a counterattacking player. My main problem is Cunha and Mbeumo Šeško join and we look no different. That's a real concern. Players through manager under the bus does not apply here. Yeah, well, I would tend to agree, because there's other things that have been getting wrong. You know what I mean? I think one of the things Ruben got really, really wrong today, probably his worst decision today, was Fredrickson. Kind of haven't discussed it yet because I don't want to lump on the kid. But that was probably his worst decision today. Playing Fredrickson in the center back when you're reliant on your center backs to progress the ball was a disaster. It was a really, 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 really bad decision. He's not up for it. He's not at this level. Either it was a misestimation of how good Fredrickson was, or the moment caught up to him or something. But he was a disaster for this system today. That's why I say it's weird watching a manager make mistakes and misestimating his own thing. Like, in this system, you can't pick bad center backs. You can't. Your right center back is so important. The wide center backs are so fundamental. I'm not even talking about defending. I'm talking about with the ball. He would not pass it forward at all. He couldn't pass it forward. I get it. Playing an academy grad against League 2 shouldn't be so bad, but that's Division. I understand, but either he misestimated his quality or didn't get it. Change for change's sake, it's a Southgate. No, because Southgate just plays the same defensive counterattacking football as well. Or someone else is poor, scraping the bottom of the barrel unless there's a contingency plan. I mean, technically that's not true. Southgate doesn't really play counterattacking football. But that's not what I'm saying. It's not about change for change's sake. It's that's not what I'm talking about anyway. But I don't know. I don't got the answers, man. Let's just see what happens. I think all of us are probably have spent so many years now, like, trying to point out the issue, try to pinpoint it, and try to solve it and figure it out, and it never works. It never works. It never solves. It never comes right. You know, we've gone through different managers. We've gone through the one everybody wanted from the fan base in Ten Hag. We've gone through the one in Amorim that was like the day to hire, the exciting pick, and right now it's rough. It's rough. We just don't know. So I don't know what to say. I don't know what they're going to do as of today. if they stick with Amorim now, then we'll just have to pray that it somehow turns around. You know what I mean? It's hard. Every manager's getting less time. I know. I mean, 10 months is a short time to get sacked, or walk. But man, it's rough. Do you think he walks after Burnley? He's talking like he will, and I don't know. He will. You know, he's talking like he will, and that's the thing. So, I'm gonna end it here because I don't know. You know, I know it's everybody needs therapy right now. I just don't know. I don't know the answer here. I don't want to say things today that I'm gonna regret tomorrow. I'm not going to ask for the manager out or something like that. Sorry, I'm not going to. But do I still have the confidence and the belief? No, I have none. I just have to hope that it works, that things work out. Hope that it gets better because I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know that we'll get. You mean end the stream? Yeah. Hopefully it's just the stream. No, it's definitely just the stream. We'll leave it there, okay? Let's see what the next days bring. I do think that I don't give a shit who is managing this club. If I ever see Onana in net again, whoever is allowing that happen, man, whoever is allowing that to happen is crazy. Whoever is allowing that to happen is insane. Cannot happen again. Cannot. So, all right, guys, I will see you later. Enjoy your evenings. Try to get some sleep, and I'll see you tomorrow.